Welcome back. Well, for more now on the unfolding flood situation impacting northern New South Wales, joining me live is New South Wales SES Assistant Commissioner of Regional Operation, Sean Kearns. Sean, thanks so much for your time this morning on what I can imagine is an extremely busy morning. Take us through what unfolded overnight in terms of rescues.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, overnight we received, or the last 24 hours, we've received over 2,000 calls for assistance. That did involve over 900 flood rescues. As everyone's aware, in the last 24 to 48 hours, we've seen significant flooding across the Northern Rivers area of New South Wales. For example, in Lismore, we've seen the levee overtop there and them have a record flood of over 14 metres. So there've been unprecedented flooding across that region with lots of communities impacted.
And in terms of, as of last night, there were quite a number of people unaccounted for in northern New South Wales and in particular around the Lismore region. Do you know what that number stands at the moment?
We don't have that number available, but what we are doing is we have received lots of calls for assistance for people that are trapped on roofs and the like. So what we are doing, we have been out there rescuing people all day yesterday. Overnight conditions weren't conducive to allowing us to have any aircraft or people out in boats. So what we are doing, we've got plans today to go back out there to rescue those people from their roofs and balconies and the like across those impacted areas. The good news is that the weather conditions up in that Northern Rivers have eased off, so the rainfall has moved further south and off the coast. And what we are seeing is the river levels start to fall, although they are falling slowly.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know roughly how many people are waiting to be rescued this morning and throughout the day today?
Look, there are lots of people waiting to be rescued. So what we are doing, we are working through our plans to go out to try and rescue those people. We do ask people where they can to remain where they are, get to higher ground where they can. Our SES volunteers and our partner agencies are out there and will be working non-stop as soon as they can this morning to go and conduct those rescues.
All right, fantastic. Sean, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. Take care.
Authorities say they don't know how many people are still stranded on rooftops in and around the Lismore region. The State Emergency Service says aircraft will go up at first light to see if they can spot anyone, and the Army will put more boots on the ground to help today. Further north in Queensland, Brisbane's deadly deluge has been its biggest on record, dropping nearly a year's worth of rain in just under a week. But the emergency situation is still far from over, with several flood warnings still in place. There's certainly plenty to cover this morning. We have it covered from all angles. Let's first go to the heart of the story over the last couple of days, which is Lismore. Bronwyn Herbert is there for us this morning, and our reporter Michael Rennie is in Ipswich today. Bronwyn, good morning to you. The search is about to begin in the Lismore region for people who are still missing.
That's right. Good morning, Mads. Look, yes, the SES had to call off its search efforts late last night with the conditions deemed too dangerous and also taking into consideration fatigue of those SES workers. The last 24 hours have just been surreal for many here in our community. The SES were doing absolutely everything they could with trying to help with rescues, but of course then there ended up being so many people from the community who came in to lend a hand with those rescues, with those stories of distress and horror of people clinging to roofs and to whatever they could hold on to, making frantic calls to emergency services, trying to call for help. Now, Here in Lismore this morning, it's obviously the light hasn't yet broken. You can see the water here behind me. It has actually started to recede just a touch. There's a bit of debris starting to appear, but Lismore itself in the CBD area is all within the basin that there is actually a levee bank holding that water in, and effectively, even though as the river is starting to decrease in height, the water within this basin area will need to be pumped out once that water reaches a certain level.
And actually, you mentioned pumping there. If you can hear the noise behind me here in Brisbane, that's the sound of a pump dredging the car park in the building which I'm in today, because the car park has been completely flooded. What are the conditions expected today, Bronwyn? They were absolutely treacherous yesterday in Lismore.
They absolutely were, yes. Look, it's calm. As we know, that storm has really, and the rain has headed out to sea. But of course, it's just left such damage in its wake. And look, the evacuation orders are still widespread here across the Northern Rivers region, and there are new alerts coming out, including areas around Ballina on the coast. So, yeah, it hopefully today conditions will be, just much easier for people, but it's still going to be days until many people can actually be able to see their homes and potentially their businesses and work out.
Is expected to continue throughout the afternoon. There are also thunderstorms for this area, which could only intensify this flood situation. The Richmond River is actually just down there behind me, and at the moment we know that it is peaking at certain areas along the river. It certainly has breached the banks here just near the Burns Point ferry stop. So there are concerns that this situation is only going to get worse. At this stage, it is nowhere as serious as the situation was in Lismore yesterday, where we saw thousands and thousands of houses underwater, but certainly you can see these water levels are rising, and so far there are already, I would say, thousands of houses that are inundated and have been damaged. Ros?
We are due to speak to the Mayor of Ballina in about 20 minutes' time. Mark, thanks for that.